Welcome to Easy Math. Today's topic will be about expanded notation and writing numbers in expanded notation. This is only part 1 of the topic since it is the beginner's guide. If you want to watch part 2, you'll find it in the description below. So, before we can write a number in expanded notation, you need to first understand what it means. So, expanded notation refers to the separation of numbers using values. So, the two keywords in this sentence is separation and values. In my previous video, we talked about values, and separation is what we do when we write a number in expanded notation. Okay, so when we write a number in expanded notation, we write it using their values. Okay, so remember, very important. In order to write a number in expanded notation, you must first know the values of each digit in a number. Then you write the values in the order the numbers are already in. Then we add positive signs in between each value to show that it is one number that has been separated using their values. Okay, so they tell us to write the following in expanded notation. The first number they give us is 23,458. Okay, so we are going to write these numbers in expanded notation by separating each digit using their values. So, what we do, we need to first find the values of each digit, but the value of the digit that we have to find first is, obviously, it has to be the first digit in the number. Okay, so that means the first digit in this number is 2. And 2 is in the first position. So that means 2 is going to be 20,000. Since we are only focused on the value of this number and we scratch out the rest of the other numbers because we want to know the specific value of this digit. Okay, so what we do, remember, we add positive signs in between the numbers to show that it is one number that has been separated using their values. So then the next number, obviously we scratch out 2 since 2 is no more in the list. Okay, so now the next number is 3, and 3 is this. 3 is going to equal to 3,000 because we are only focused on the value of this number, and then that means we scratch out the rest of the other numbers, but we change the rest of the other numbers to the value 0. Okay, so then we add a positive sign, and that will be our next number. But before that, we go to the next number, we scratch out the number 3. Okay, so the next number is 4, and we write 4 down. Then we look at the other numbers on the right hand side, and we change it to 0. So that means 458 is going to equal to 400. Okay, so then we add a positive sign, and then we go on to our next number, but before that we scratch out the number 4. Okay, now our next number is 5, and we write 5 down. Then we look at the number on the right hand side of 5, and we change it to the number 0. That means 58 is equal to 50. Then we add a positive sign to show that we are moving on to the next number. Okay, so before we move on to the next digit, we scratch out the number 5, and Then we look at our next digit in the number, which is 8, and we write 8 down. Is there any other number that we can change to 0? No, because there is no other number after the number 8. Okay, so that means after we write down these numbers in their values, we say it is equal to 23,458. Okay, now we move on to our next number, which is 654,129. Okay, so we look at our first digit in this number, which is 6. And we look at how many other digits are there on the right hand side, and then we change those now digits into the number 0. And that means that we are going to add a positive sign to show that we have moved on to the next number. So what we do, we scratch out the number 6. Okay, so then the next number we see is 5, and we look at the numbers on the right hand side, and we look at how many numbers there are, digits, and we exchange those numbers to the number 0. Okay, then we add again a positive sign to show that we have moved on to the next number. Before we move on to the next number, we need to scratch out 5. Okay, so now we move on to the next number, which is 4, and we write down 4, and we look at how many other digits are on the right hand side, and we change them to the number 0. Okay, now we add again a positive sign to show that we have moved on to our next digit in the number. But before we move on to the next number, we scratch out the number 4, and then the next number is the number 1. We look at how many numbers there are on the right hand side, we change them to 0. Okay, we scratch out 1, we add a positive sign, we see the number 2, we write 2 down. Then we look at the numbers on the right hand side, we change them to 0, and then again we add a positive sign. Then afterwards, we scratch out the number 2, and then we are left with the number 9. We write down 9. And is there any other number that we can change to 0? No, because 9 is the very last number or digit in the number. Okay, so after doing that, we say it is equal to 654,129. Okay, now we move on to our third number, which is 1,875,642. And what we do, we look at our first number, which is 1, and we look at how many digits are on the right hand side, which we're going to change to 0. Then we add a plus sign. Then we move on to our next number, which is 8. Then we look at how many digits are on the right hand side. Then we change those numbers to the number 0. And then we add a positive sign to show that we have moved on to the next number. But remember, we have to scratch out the other digits, my mistake. Then we show that we have the next number is 7. So then we look at how many digits are on the right hand side, and we change them to 0. Okay, and then we sketch out the number 7, and add a positive sign to show that we have moved on to the next number. And then the next number is 5, which means that it's going to be, which means that the next number is 5. And we look at how many digits on the left hand side, which are 3. That means we change those digits into the number zeros. We change them to zeros. Then we scratch out the number 5, and our next number, we have to first add a positive sign. Then our next number is 6. We again look at how many numbers are on the right hand side, and we change them to the number 0. Then we sketch out the number 6. Then we add a positive sign to show that we have moved on to the next digit in the number, which is 4. Then we look at how many digits are on the right hand side, which is 2, and we change that number to 0. And we add a positive sign to show that we have moved on to the next number, and we scratch out the number 4. Then the next number is 2. And is there any other number that we can change to the number 0? No, because 2 is the very last number, the very last digit in that number. Okay, so then we say it is equal to 1,875,642. Okay, now we move to our fourth number, which is 23,856,791. And our first digit in that number is 2. And we count how many digits are on the right hand side, and we change those digits to the number 0, all of them. So then we sketch out the number 2. Then we add a positive sign. Then we write down the number 3. Then we look at how many digits are on the right hand side of 3, and we change those numbers to zeros. Okay, then we sketch out the number 3, we add a positive sign, and our next number is 8. Okay, look at how many digits are on the right hand side of 8. We exchange them to zeros. Then we add a positive sign and scratch out 8. Okay, the next number is 5. Okay, so then we look at how many digits are on the right hand side of 5. We change them to 0. Then we add a positive sign and scratch out 5. And then we look at our next number, which is 6. Then we change the numbers on the right hand side of 6 to zeros. Then we add a positive sign and scratch out 6. Then we see that our next number is 7. And we look at how many digits on the right hand side of 7, and we change them to zeros. Then our next number is 9. And then we look at how many digits are on the right hand side of 9. We change them to 0. We add a positive sign and we write down 1. In this case, there is no any other number that we can change to the number 0, since 1 is the very last digit in that number. So 1 stays 1. And that means that after writing down the values, what we do, we say it is equal to 856,791. Okay, so in this video we learned that how to write numbers in expanded notation. We learned what is expanded notation, and we learned that when we add a plus sign in between the values, it means that we have moved on to our next digit in the number. So thanks for watching. Until next time, easy maths.